Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Lenox Justifier of Innocence, created by Zeus and Demeter to save humanity. I am here as the character Josephine, which is Lenox in human form, and with me today is Mr. Betty, the guard dog. Now before we get started, I did just want to say thank you to those of you who have been following along, and I hope you guys are having an amazing week so far. For those of you who are new to this channel, just to give you a little backstory as to what this channel is about. This is a fantasy justice channel where superheroes and gods unite in the fight to save humanity in order to restore the balance between good and evil. Lenox, the protagonist, is a goddess that was created by Zeus and Demeter in order to carry out those set missions. This channel piggybacks off the book series titled Lenox Justifier of Innocence, which is available at all major booksellers. Some, if not all of the topics, are sensitive in nature, and some may even trigger emotional response, so I did want to forewarn you on that. Though the stories are loosely based on real-world occurrences and true stories, we changed the names and the places in order to protect the identities of those who were involved, and all of the justice is carried out in imagination and fantasy. All the characters are fictitious. So with that said, we are going to start with today's story, which is the final part of The Predator Coach. So it was based on a true story on a patron's request, and today we're doing the finale for that particular part of the series. And this is the fantasy justice portion of it, so this is the fun part. So make sure you stay to the end, because I will be letting you know exactly what is coming up next on the channel and on Mr. Buddy's channel as well. So we will see you at the end. Enjoy the show. This story is set back in the early 90s. There were no cell phones like we have today, and the use of DNA technology for law enforcement was at its infancy, as well as the internet. This means that Lenox and the crew were going to have to capture the fugitive, the predatory coach, the old-fashioned way. Amalia could still follow the money. However, it would be by going in person to all of his financial institutions to obtain manual files, fingerprints, knocking on all the doors of everyone that the coach knew, going back to his past and present. We needed as much personal details as possible. His likes, dislikes, every known address, his family, former lovers, friends. This was going to be a challenge for Lenox and the crew. They were going to have to use their abilities and powers in unique and creative ways. Once they gather as much information as possible, they will have a baseline to start the search. Lenox will not let this predator go unpunished. She briefed the crew of the unique circumstances. Mr. Buddy, I will need you to recruit the help of the animal kingdom. Take items of his clothing from this hamper. Here's his address. Make the animal kingdom aware of his scent, in case he decides to hide out in the woods or in any mountainous areas. Carlita and I need you to request the help from your people. Triple Bros, I need you to go to the prisons and interview men who have been convicted of similar crimes. Start with those who have compatible backgrounds to that of the coach. The more we understand about the minds of this type of criminal, the easier it will be to track him. Amalia and Lexa sift through all of his records, while Vetrani, Bully, and Olgard canvass the area. Go door to door, check bus stations, trains, airports, and taxi services. Car rentals, the works. Jojo and I will go interview all of the parents of the soccer team, and I alone will speak to the boys. This will give me an opportunity to heal their pain. Let's get to work. Police involvement is going to be minimal. They have limited resources and limited manpower. So we have to do everything we can to help bring this man to justice. While Vetrani and Bully and Olgard canvassed the area, Lenox and Jojo visited the parents of the boys. Most of the parents were very receptive and happy to provide whatever help they could. But Maria, Mason's mom, was indifferent. She was snarky towards Jojo. Lenox stopped her. She wasn't going to have that. She flat out asked her what her problem was. "We're here to help you, remember that. We're trying to catch the man that hurt your son and bring him to justice so he can never hurt another child." Maria slumped into a chair. "He's not the only man that I allowed to hurt him," in reference to Mason's dad, Joe. While covering her face in shame, she said, "I'm sorry. I should not be angry at Jojo, but I am." "What? Why?" Jojo asked. "Because you left him when he needed you most," Maria replied. Jojo then explained what really happened and how the coach had manipulated their relationship. Maria began to cry, blaming herself for everything, feeling an overwhelming sense of guilt for putting Mason in the hands of that monster. Lenox did her best to counsel Maria. Blaming anyone else but the perpetrator is not reasonable. Though natural, it will not help catch him. One cannot continue to punish oneself for the horrible actions of others. After refocusing Maria, they were able to gather information that could be useful later on. Lenox now went to talk to the boys. After speaking with them and absolving their pain, she gathered very useful info. She believes this information is going to help find the coach. He liked to dress up the boys in costumes as well as himself. She also found out about distant cousins and family inherited properties located in the Berkshires and another in the Ozarks. When they got back to the sanctuary, Lenox briefed Amalia. Amalia could not find anything in the property records under his name, so she searched his distant cousins and family for information. While Amalia searched, Carlita Ine had her people begin searching the Ozarks. Mr. Buddy shared his scent with the animal kingdom in both areas. Lenox was feeling the pain, the shame, everything that the boys endured, the betrayal, the fear. This made her more determined to catch him. How many more victims have there been, she wondered. She closed her eyes, going into a meditative place. Her senses heightened. She let the noise dissipate. Silence. Focus. Find him, she told herself. She went back to check in with Amalia and Leska. "We have a lead," they said. Carlita Ine's people spotted a man in the Ozarks that looked just like the coach, and the animal kingdom confirmed his scent. He was in a supply store, and he appeared to have purchased ammo, guns, knives, duct tape, some 2x4s, amongst other weapons. "Okay," Lenox said, "let's inform the police so they can check the store for his prints and question the clerks. I will meet up with Mr. Buddy to track his scent." The coach had barricaded himself in a cabin. The area was sparse in population, with the closest neighbor being about a half a mile away. He armed the house, putting booby traps around the grounds, rigging the doors to disable intruders. His attempts to leave the country were thwarted by heavy police presence at the borders and at the airport. His picture was on every news station now. There was nowhere for him to go. They even released pictures of him dressed in the various costumes he used to like to dress up in, based on what the boys described, amongst other disguises. The coach had convinced a lady friend of his to help him, telling her that he was being set up by his star soccer pupil for expelling him off the soccer team due to poor grades and behaviors. She, believing him, agreed to help him in his attempt to avoid capture and prosecution for crimes he supposedly did not commit. She assisted him in arming the cabin and was willing to take shots on anyone who showed up on the property. She was not a mentally stable woman, and in his evil nature, he exploited her as well. Their plan was to lay low for a few days, waiting for the search on him to stall out. And then she would drive him over the border while he hid in the trunk of her car. The animal kingdom had caught his scent, and they surrounded the cabin. They notified Mr. Buddy. He told him to keep watch while he alerted Lenox. If he makes a move, surround him. Disable the vehicle if necessary, but please be careful. They are armed. Heard, said the black bear. The forest began to surround the cabin. It was filled with bobcats, mountain lions, deer, bears, squirrels, skunks, and more. The larger animals hid, while the smaller ones stayed closer to the cabin, acting inconspicuous, going unnoticed. The coach was growing anxious. In his typical hasty and impatient manner, he began to shout, flaring his arms all about. I can't just sit here. I can't. I feel like a sitting duck. Let's go now. Are you sure? His friend asked. Yes. If I'm in the trunk for the majority of the time, it'll be fine. Little did they know that the squirrels had chewed the wires to the car. They won't be going anywhere. They began to load the vehicle. When everything was packed up, he got in the trunk. But when she turned the key, the vehicle would not start. She tried it several times, but nothing. The animals were snickering while informing Mr. Buddy and Lenox as to what was going on. Lenox was briefing the FBI and heading to the cabin, frustrated. The coach got out of the trunk, popped the hood. He took a quick look, immediately noticing the wires. Damn it, he shouted. We can take the beater truck. But there's no trunk, his lady friend remarked. Yeah, I know that, he replied. I could just hide under piles of stuff. I doubt they will look that closely. They began to transfer all of the contents to the truck and then filled it with a gas can. Lenox engaged the jets in her boots, making her way from Massachusetts to Missouri. They finished packing up the truck, started it up, and they pulled out of the barn's carport. The animals immediately surrounded the truck. What the hell? Petrified, the two of them scrambled inside looking for a shotgun, a rifle, anything in that mess. Just go through 'em, he yelled. I can't do that, his lady friend shouted back. If you start moving, they will get out of the way. Go, or I will start shooting them. No, she said, that will attract attention. No, it won't. The closest neighbor is like a half-mile away. Yes, but it's so quiet the shots will echo. They will hear it. I'll go. As they plowed their way through the animals, they began to get out of the way. Hurry, the bear communicated with Mr. Buddy. They are on the move. The mountain lion jumped on the hood, staring the coach in the face. What the hell is going on? His lady friend asked. Just drive. It'll jump off, the coach replied. She ended up flooring it, and the lion did jump off. They're getting away. No, they are not, Lenox replied. As they made their way down the windy mountain road, Lenox was running up it. She stopped the truck. The FBI had the area surrounded. "Stand down," Lenox said. The coach cocked his rifle. His lady friend said, "The hell with this. I didn't sign up for whatever this is." She jumped out of the truck and was immediately surrounded by FBI agents. "Get down on your knees, hands up," they shouted. She got down, put her face down on the ground. She was petrified, but she quickly complied. "Don't shoot me, please. I have nothing to do with him." The coach and Lenox were facing off. He got into the driver's seat of the truck, shouting for her to move. She slowly cocked her head. "You're not going anywhere." Helicopters were flying above, capturing the whole scene. The whole world was watching. "Get out of the truck and surrender," Lenox yelled. And then she jumped onto the hood of the truck and peeled the roof off of it. The coach peed himself, Lenox unleashing her fury. The coach began to convulse, feeling himself sodomized, his flesh ripping from the forced relations. The blood was streaming down his legs. Feeling excruciating pain, fear, shame. There were dozens of victims whose lives he had destroyed, and he was reliving all of their pain, one by one after the other. He vomited all over himself, convulsing, but yet he did not repent. These type of criminals don't feel any remorse. They don't feel that they are wrong in their crimes. A true predator to the core. He will spend the rest of his existence in the hell of his own creation. Both of them were taken into custody. The animals nodded at Lenox in respect and then retreated to the safety of the forest. As the coach, riddled in pain, for all the pain that he was feeling, it was releasing the children of theirs. Lenox was able to help Mason and his teammates cope. But all of those victims that came before, they too now had some reprieve. A weight had been lifted, and though the memory of what they endured will never leave them, they can now function and live a better life. It was no longer diluting them of a pure life. They felt free of the emotional chains the coach had binded them in. Lenox and the crew headed back to the sanctuary. Before they left, Mr. Buddy in tow, they stopped to see Jojo. "You're a remarkable young lady," Lenox said to Jojo. "You have lots of heart. You're brave. Never lose yourself." Jojo gave Lenox a huge hug. Maria and Mason were outside. "Somebody wants to see you," Lenox said. Jojo looked over. "Go, he's waiting." Now Lenox left them, on to the next mission. The boys were able to compete in that tournament, where Mason and one of his teammates were scouted to play in college. They got a full ride. Jojo and Mason rekindled their romance and once again became inseparable. So that is going to conclude today's episode. I hope that you guys enjoyed this series titled The Predator Coach. It is the finale of that, and we're going to go on to a new series coming up. But before I do that, I am going to do a brief recap on Greek mythologies, just so that you guys have a better understanding as to some of the jokes and backstories of the characters that we use on this channel. And that way you don't miss out on any of the funny references. So we're going to do that first. And then the next video is actually going to be Mr. Buddy's birthday video, so you'll get to enjoy that. And along with new music, and he now has enough songs to put a little album together, so I'm going to work on getting that together for you. And also too, I've been thinking of putting a channel on Patreon where it's less restrictive. I'm still going to keep the YouTube channel, but I was thinking of adding a channel on Patreon in order to be able to describe the occurrences with better detail without so many restrictions and as to what can be said and can't be said. So just give me your thoughts on that, what you think. If you would like to see that, let me know in the comments below, or you can email me. Also too, don't forget, if you guys have suffered any injustices or know of anyone who has, and you would like a fantasy justice story written for you, just let me know. You can email me and I'll write you a story just for you. So I'm going to say goodbye for today because this little guy is tired, and we hope that you guys have an amazing week. As always, please take care of yourselves, take care of your kids, and God bless. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you soon.